Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you ain't subscribed, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. But today we are doing a story time, and it is our first story time on this channel, which I'm super excited about. Yay. I'm doing a story time about how I fought a guy. For the majority of the video, I'm typically going to be looking to my left because that's where my story's at. I have it written down in my other phone. So let's just get right into it. This story time took place while I was in 7th grade. The guy that I fought, we are still cool to this day. And we're going to name him Sponge because he reminds me of SpongeBob. When I was in 7th grade, I was typically to myself unless I was in like one of my favorite classes, which was history and science. And me and Sponge had history and science together. And Sponge had a girlfriend, and we're gonna name his girlfriend Tiny. But me, Sponge, and Tiny, we both had history and science together. So we were all pretty close, but we wasn't that close, but we was pretty close. And this particular day, Sponge, he had a little attitude, and I was checking up on him, and he didn't want to talk about it. So I'm like, okay, that's understandable, because if something was wrong with me and I didn't feel like talking about it, like, I'm gonna tell you, like, I don't want to talk about it. And so I let it go. But we had history 4th period, and we had science 6th or 5th period. I can't remember. When we was in 4th period, he was happy, jolly, you know, moving around, dancing, playing. So I'm like, okay. And then we get to 6th period or 5th period, and he was all angry and had an attitude. So I'm like, what could have possibly happened from the time of being in 4th period? Being in 4th period, past lunch, 2 other periods, and then you have an attitude? Like, I was curious, so I asked him, and he was like, you know, I don't want to talk about it. So I was like, okay. Me and Tiny, we were really good friends because she was my best friend's little sister. This day we didn't have no work in that class, but it was like any other day, because any other day we didn't have work in that class. Like, we would do work, but it wouldn't be a lot. Like, we had more free time than we did work. So when the class started, the teacher, he had us doing a little work, but we had all finished early, so we had a free day, like I said. And he kind of blew me off when I was trying to cheer him up. He kind of blew me off, which kind of like made me mad. So I was like, for real? That's how you feeling? And let me tell y'all one thing about me before I even like get deep into the story. I don't like when a man is not even a man, like just a guy period, disrespecting a woman, because I don't like that at all. That's weird, that's lame. And so Tiny and me were just sitting in class. We was talking, we was giggling, we was having our trouble. But me and Tiny, we was just sitting there and talking. And Sponge came up and said something to Tiny. He was like, and then walked away. But I kind of like heard a little bit, and he was kind of like, they was kind of like bickering back and forth, but they wasn't being loud about it. But of course, me being sitting right there, I'm kind of like listening and watching. And I just remember like me looking up at him, and then like, because we were sitting and he was standing, so I kind of remember me looking up at him, giving him a stank face, and then him walking away. And he went to go chill with his friends, and for the most part, he looked at like a little bit happy. So I was like, okay then, cool. Next thing you know, Sponge and Tiny were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I heard Sponge call Tiny a bee, so I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing now? That's what we're doing now? And like I said, I don't like when guys disrespect a woman at all. I don't like when they put their hands on them. I don't like when, like, okay, it's like play fighting, that's okay. Like, actually physically hurting a woman, that's, I don't like that. I don't like when they call us out our names, because we're not that, you know. So I was like, yeah, that's what we're doing now. When Sponge caught Tiny a bee, she was kind of like shocked. She was like
I said, oh, jump scare.
And she just kind of like went quiet. And I was like, you just gonna like call her out her name like that? And then next thing you know, me and him are going back and forth. So I'm like, okay, we're going back and forth. And like, it started off small. Like, it was loud enough for other students to hear that were sitting close by, but it wasn't loud enough to get the whole class attention. Also, the teacher, he had already he left for something. He left to go get something, and when he came back, boom, we were arguing. And then he was like, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. We're not calming down. We're just getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna drop it, because at the end of the day, this ain't my man. So I just dropped it. And I went to go sit down and try to like help my friend, because she was mad. She wasn't mad, but she was more so sad and kind of like confused. So I'm like, okay, I'm finna go sit down and I'm finna go talk to her. And he went to go sit down with his friends, and I'm sitting down. You know, it's okay, girl, it's okay. Like, talking to her. Next thing you know, I turn around, boom, hit me in my face. Now we
boom 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 boom. We boom 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 boom.
Fighting, and we were fighting like by the window. So, and I'm pretty sure you can see it here, but we were fighting by the window. So at this point, I'm like, dang, like I really said something to you that makes you want to fight me for real, or was your friends like, go fight her, go fight her, go fight her, or did I say something that hurt you for real? We throwing punches.
Boom 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 boom.
Next thing you know, my foot kind of slipped. You won't see it in the video, but my foot kind of slipped and I fell. So boom, we on the floor, or I'm on the floor, and I'm like, boom, I'm still fighting because wait, you're not just gonna beat me up.
Boom 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 boom.
He hit me, my nose started bleeding. I was like, okay. Teacher come back in with the administrator. At this point, the administrator is not doing nothing because the fight was already over. Like, we literally had I would say at the most, a minute fight. Like, literally, it was a 1 minute fight. The administrators didn't even have to break us up. All they had to do was,
you office, you office.
that's it. I had left the classroom like right when the administrator had came in, and I went to the restroom because I'm like feeling my nose. I'm like, oh snap, like he got me good, like nosebleed. Okay, so in the bathroom, wasn't nobody in the bathroom, which I was lucky, and I'm wiping my nose, I'm wiping her nose. Another administrator come in the bathroom, and she's like,
what happened? Like, why y'all fight? And I'm
just telling her the story, and she's like,
you shouldn't be fighting a guy, you shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be hitting you, y'all shouldn't have said this, y'all should.
And in my head, I'm like, bro, he shouldn't have been talking to his girlfriend like that. Like, be for real. And so she let me clean myself up. I didn't have no black eye. He just gave me a bloody nose. I had ended up going to the office, and I was just sitting there, like my leg was shaking, it's bouncing. I'm just walking around. At this point, I'm crying because I'm like, dang, like I just really fought a guy. Like, I just really fought a guy. And they made us, she pulled me aside first, and she was like, tell me again what happened so she can write it down. So I'm telling her what happened, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna have you sit here, I'm gonna have you write a statement. And if y'all don't know what a statement is, it's like basically like when something happens in a classroom, don't matter if it's a teacher, don't matter if it's a fight with a teacher, don't matter if it's a fight, don't matter if it's with another student, don't matter if it's bullying, it don't matter what it was, just it's just like something that you're reporting almost. So I'm writing it down, you know, and next thing you know, she's like, I'm finna go call my mama. Y'all, when she said, I'm finna go call your mother, I was finna drop dead, because my mama, she don't like me fighting at school. She would rather me fight at home than be at school fighting, because like I told you in my other video, all that stuff goes on y'all's school record. So I'm like, bro, when I get home, I'm finna be grounded. Like, I'm not finna do this, I'm not gonna be able to do that, I'm not gonna be able to go to she gonna make me get out of band, she gonna make me stop playing, what season was that? She gonna make me stop playing soccer. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, y'all, I was wilding. At this point, I'm crying. Okay, I'm crying really hard. And she left. She went to go call my mom, and then she went to go get him, but they went in another office. So he wrote his statement, and he got his mom a call too. He got to leave early because he lived right up the street from his my school, the old school, the school that I went to was right up the street from his house. And I live like 20 minutes away. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And so my mama had to come pick me up, and she was at work. So you know how black mamas are when they at work and you get a phone call from the school. So I'm like, bro, she's most definitely finna go off on me now, because this lady is at work and y'all got the nerve to be calling her. So we call, and she's like cussing me out on the phone. She's like,
You not supposed to be effing fighting at the school anyway. I don't even know why you was all up in that boy business.
I'm just like, you're right. I don't even know why I was, but I was, and it happened. So oh well. And so she was like,
I'm finna come up there, and when you get home, you're gonna get your ass beat.
And I'm just like, great, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And so she pull up. I'm still shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh my god, I'll fist to cry again. And so I got in the car. She was quiet the whole ride home. So she asked me when we was pulling up, like 10 minutes before we pulled up, she asked me like,
what happened? Like, you don't have to lie.
and I'm just like, okay, telling her the story. And so after I told her the story, she kind of seen it, but then like she kind of seen where I was coming from. But then again, she was
like, you still shouldn't be up in that boy business. Like, that had nothing to do with you. Now, if he started to beat on her, then that was like something you could have did. So, like, you could have jumped in and helped her, because like I said, no guy should be hitting on no girl.
And I was like, you know what, you're right. I should have just let it play out and see what happened. But you know, it's okay, because what happened, it happened. And we both ended up getting suspended. And I got suspended for 5 days. And at first he had got suspended for 4 days. And we was like, why is he suspended longer than me when he hit me first? Make it make sense. And they had called my mama back, and it was like,
you know what, she's going to be suspended for a short amount of time, and he's going to be suspended for 6 days.
I was suspended for 4. And the reason why was because they looked back at the videos and they asked the girl who hit first, and she was like, he hit first, but she did start it. I don't know, I don't think I started it, but people say I did, so we just gonna say I started it. And they looking back at the cameras, because the way the cameras were set up, like, you can, there was like the mirror, not a mirror, a big old window, like a big window, and then there's the door, and there's a door in the window. There's a window and a door, and there's another window. But the way that our classroom was set up, it was just a window and a door with a window on the door. So the cameras was on the other side of the hallway, and you can kind of see into it. And the way that the inside of the classroom was, you can see the window from the camera a little bit. So you can't, and we was sitting in front of the window. So like when he hit me, you can kind of see that he did swing first. So when that happened, it was like, okay, boom. When my mama heard that, she wanted to press charges on me, and I'm just like, I mean, not on me, on him. And I'm just like, you know, like, you don't really have to press charges on him, because at the end of the day, we both was messing with each other. Because like I said, when I stopped, he wanted to keep going, and he said something which makes me want to say something, and I got a smart mouth, so I'm gonna speak my mind, and I'm gonna say what I gotta say, because you're not just gonna, like I said, you're not just gonna talk to me any kind of way. So yeah, that's my story. I know it's a short story. I mean, there's really no like hardcore stuff that happened in there, but it happened. It's a short story. That was all for today. Thank you guys for watching.